Hey everybody, Andy Monks back for Art Life Fiend. Welcome back. Hey, first up I want to say a big shout out to my friend Rodney Lunt, who has Twin Gum Studios for his awesome sting that I have at the start of my videos. You may have noticed that new guitar riff that was done by Rodney in his studio. Rodney is an awesome heavy metal rock guitarist, musician extraordinaire, sound recordist, whole audio engineer, all of the above. So thanks Rodney heaps for doing that. He's an old friend of mine, not like old, but like long time. And so if you ever need some audio, hit Rodney up. I'll put the link down below. Alright, today I wanted to talk about this thing of talent. Talent as an artist. I don't know about you, other people out there who are artists, but one of the things I've been told a lot in my life is how talented I am. And it's this weird thing. It's really, I think when people say it, it's meant as a compliment. And I get it. It's meant to be a compliment to say you have good talent, right? The problem though is it creates this myth, right? This myth of talent. And I believe there is a myth of talent and people being naturally good at something. And whilst I think people have natural aptitudes at things, I don't think that makes you successful. And I also don't think it definitely doesn't make you a master of something. So it's interesting, this thing of talent, you know, I know for myself, I wasn't born a talented artist. In fact, for myself, my experience as an artist was always like, I needed to get to the next level, and my ability wasn't sufficient for what my mind wanted me to communicate. So it's interesting, you know, and I kind of, for all of you guys who are budding artists or anyone who's budding in something that you want to be good at, like sports, could be business, could be whatever academia field you're in, and particularly the arts and creative endeavors. Don't look at other people and compare yourself and go, they're talented, and put them up on a pedestal and be like, I can never achieve that. No, you should talk to those people and find out how many hours they put in. You know, what had them be talented? You were not born talented. You don't wind up talent. Talent is something that is generated, caused, it's worked at, it's hard work, you know, mostly. You know, the thing for me is, and that's why when you're, you know, if you ever see me again, don't now be offended about saying you're talented. But what I'd say is, like, you do great work, you know, that's more complimentary. Like, your work is extraordinary, things like that. Because, you know, there's a couple of books I want to mention today. There's a book about God by Malcolm Gladwell called Outliers, and it's all about what has people be successful. And there's a lot of factors in that book. I won't go into all of them today, but one of them that always struck me was on average, it seemed for people to master things took about 10,000 hours. Now, that's an arbitrary number, and I don't know how much scientific data there is behind that. But I tell you what, you know, I've been drawing my whole life. The other thing I said the other day on the other podcast was doing half an hour a day. You know, setting yourself those challenges makes the difference and pushes you through those barriers. And it'll be frustrating because you'll keep hitting your limitations. The other thing to keep going is talk to experts, get mentors, get coaches. You know, I've had a lot of great people in my life and a lot of people I've sought out, and I've done a lot of training and development. I read. I'm a monster for books, you know. So that was the other thing. The other book I wanted to briefly mention, or really author, was Steven Pressfield. So Steven Pressfield he's written a number of successful books. He wrote The Legend of Bagger Vance. He was a screenplay writer, and he really got his break late in life. I think in his late 40s, maybe. Again, don't quote me, but later in life, it was he wasn't successful as a writer till later in his life. And then he's written a series of books which are Bibles, really, for me. And they're 3 books that I recommend every one of you read who wants to be successful and become talented. You can become talented by working at it. That's how you become talented. If you're not born with talent, which hardly anyone is, by the way, they just work at it. Even talented people practice every day and do their work, right? Otherwise the talent fades. So the 3 books, I'll come back to that. I digressed for a moment. The 3 books is, one is Do the Work. It's called simply Do the Work. Second one is The War of Art. The War of Art changed my life. I'll come back to that. And the third one is Turning Pro. Changed my life too. There was a moment where I turned pro as an artist. I went from being an amateur to a professional, and it was mental. So the thing I really want to talk about is, and relating to what Stephen talks about in his books is we have this thing in us that's he calls resistance. Okay? And it's there when you wake up in the morning. You resist what you want to do. You know, your mind, we're all pretty smart. We know the work we should be doing to become successful at something, but we resist there's this resistance. So the War of Art is all about that. It's all about the war on resistance, really, and your ego, and all the things that come with that. Addiction, distraction, all those things, self-doubt. But really the biggest thing is that, and it's the thing that really shifted something for me, is don't worry about all of that. Just get up every day and make art. Make your art. Whatever that is. If you're a sports person, you get up and you train every morning. Or if you're an artist, you get up. I get up, some days, look, I'm not perfect, but most of the time I get up every morning, I have my cup of coffee and I sit down and I sketch for an hour. Every day. Without fail. So, and that's since I took on that practice, has made a massive difference to my ability. Like exponentially, I've jumped leaps and bounds and I've broken through barriers. And when I hit problems, there's a lot of resources online, or I talk to people, or I go to my library. So, I recommend you all read that book, The War of Art. And I don't get a commission for it. I'd love to, but I don't, right? But I highly recommend The War of Art. Do the work and turning pro. And what it's going to require is every day getting up, and when you don't want to, doing the work anyway. All right, that's my kind of rant today. I'll be back soon. Again, please leave your comments, subscribe, share. Let's get this conversation of being an artist really big in the world. All right, thank you for your time again. Goodbye. Have a great day. Do the work.